Hey gang, it's me, Dr. Steve, and the intentional chaos at our southern border is backfiring on the Biden administration big time. Wait until you see how Senator Ted Cruz rips into the utterly incompetent Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas, and we're going to see too how the American people are fed up and have had it with such willful incompetence at our southern border. You're not going to want to miss this.
Is there a crisis at our southern border?
Senator, there is a very significant...
That's a yes or no question.
There's a very significant...
Is there a crisis?
Senator, there's a very significant challenge...
I think your microphone is not on.
There is a very significant challenge that we are facing.
Yes or no,
at the southern
is there a
border.
crisis?
I believe I've addressed that question,
So you're refusing to answer?
Senator, there is a very significant challenge, and
will you answer if there's a crisis?
Therefore, we are dedicating the resources...
Okay, so you're refusing to answer. Well, Secretary Mayorkas, I'll tell you someone who is willing to answer, which is your and President Biden's chief of the Border Patrol in a sworn deposition in July of 2022 when asked, would you agree, Chief Ortiz, that the southern border is currently in crisis? Answer, yes. Notice none of those wiggle words, none of that equivocation. One word, one syllable, yes. Are you willing to speak with the same clarity as Chief Ortiz? Is there a crisis at our southern border, yes or no?
Senator, I'm very proud to work alongside...
So you refuse to answer. Let me ask you the next question. Has the crisis at our southern border made Americans less safe, yes or no?
Senator, we are dedicated to the safety
Has the crisis made Americans less safe? I don't want a discourse. It's a yes or no question.
Senator, we have a challenge of
You refuse to answer the question. Mr. Secretary, let me show you how someone doing his job answers a question in a straightforward manner. Chief Ortiz, is the crisis that is currently ongoing at the southern border making the border less safe for Americans and aliens alike? Answer, yes. One word, one syllable, 3 letters. That's how someone answers a question and does their job. You're being a politician misleading the American people. Let me give you a chance again. Will you show the same integrity Chief Ortiz shows? Is the crisis at the southern border making Americans less safe? Yes or no?
Senator, we have 260,000
You refuse to answer the question. Let's move on.
That was brilliant. That was a brilliant line of questioning that revealed Mayorkas to be the babbling idiot that he is. Again, the key there was that Senator Cruz didn't merely claim that Mayorkas was a babbling idiot. He demonstrated it. He showed it for everyone to see. And as it turns out, Senator Cruz was just getting warmed up.
What are these wristbands?
I don't know what they are.
You
Senator.
don't know what they are. Mr. Secretary, you have just testified to the American people you're incompetent at your job, because I've been to the southern border, and if you go to the southern border, along the southern border, you see thousands of these wristbands because the illegal immigrants wear them. The drug cartels, every color corresponds to how many thousands of dollars they owe the cartels. You have turned these cartels into multi-billion-dollar criminal organizations, and these are modern-day leg irons because these are children being sold into sex slavery, and you don't even know what they are. That is astonishing. Mr. Secretary, how many children have been sold into sex slavery under your administration?
Senator, we are taking it to the cartels.
How many children have been sold into sex slavery? Do you know how many children have been sold into sex slavery?
To an unprecedented degree.
Mr. Secretary, I want to say to you right now,
it is precisely...
your behavior is disgraceful, and the deaths, the children assaulted, the children raped, they are at your feet, and if you had integrity, you would resign. And I will tell you, the men and women of the Border Patrol, they've never had a political leader undermine them. They despise you, Mr. Secretary, because you're willing to let children be raped to follow political orders. This is a crisis, it's a disgrace, and you won't even admit this human tragedy is a crisis.
Claiming 1 minute chairman time, Mr. Secretary, would you like to respond to any of those questions?
What the senator said was revolting. I'm not going to address it.
Your refusal to do your job is revolting.
What the senator said was revolting. I'm not going to address it. You didn't address anything. You didn't address anything else. That would be a start, wouldn't it? What a crock of crap. The entire cross-examination was marked by nothing other than evasion and stonewalling from the sad excuse of a Homeland Security Secretary. Now, of course, everything Ted Cruz just said there was true. Everything. Once everything you do is premised on an illegal activity like crossing the border, virtually everything involved with it, most particularly the smuggling organizations, becomes illegal. And as such, these women and children are subjecting themselves to some of the most evil people out there. Illegal immigration is absolutely cruel and inhumane for the immigrant. This is the myopic morality of the liberal in justifying open borders by focusing on the oppression that illegal immigrants are trying to escape. They turn a blind eye to the horrors these immigrants go through by virtue of these open borders. But Cruz was not alone in revealing the horrid incompetence of this ideological bureaucrat. Here's Senator John Kennedy of Louisiana.
Mr. Secretary, do you agree with the president that we should ban the private ownership of assault weapons in America?
Senator, I do.
What is an assault weapon?
It is, for example, an AK-47.
Can you give me a definition other than just pointing to a specific weapon? Would there be other weapons besides an AK-47 you would ban?
There very well are. And I remember when I was a federal prosecutor in the Central District of California from September 25th, 1989 to, I believe it was April 2001.
And I thank you for your service, but if you could answer my question.
The vast majority of law enforcement officers, leaders with whom I worked were greatly in support of the assault weapons ban.
Mr. Chairman, you know why we get so frustrated with you? Because you won't give straight answers.
I think I just did.
No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Do you have a definition of an assault weapon?
I am confident there is a technical definition of what is an assault weapon, and it was assuredly used in the context of the statute that previously existed banning assault weapons.
He doesn't know. He literally doesn't know what an assault weapon is. So in the swamp in D.C., if you don't know, you stall, right? Of course, when I was a federal prosecutor back in September of 1988, starting at 9 a.m., I think I had a donut and a coffee. Did I drive or did I take the subway? I mean, this man's a clown. This man is a symbol of the degeneration of liberalism in our nation. If this is the best they could come up with, gang, they're going to implode faster than I thought. Getting back to the border, here's Josh Hawley on the outrageous new app that the Biden administration has designed for illegal immigrants.
The CBP One app was not unveiled for the first time on January 5th of this year.
Oh, no, but you changed it. You made it available on January 5th to the illegals themselves. You don't have to be a lawyer to use it. You don't have to be a member of a non-governmental organization. Anybody can download the app and use it on their phone. And for the first time, you allowed them to schedule appointments. Now, let's talk about what actually happens when they come to the border. It's interesting. You characterized this when you rolled it out as an application for applying for asylum. But nowhere on the app do you actually require the illegal migrants to apply for asylum or to claim asylum or anything about asylum. And in fact, when they then get to the border, you don't ask them questions, you don't do interviews, you just release them. Here's the Texas Monthly, not a notable conservative outlet, who reports, and I quote, "At no point does the app ask users, are you seeking asylum? Those arriving for the CBP One appointments are given no interviews, asked no questions about vulnerabilities that they may or may not have listed in the app or about why they're coming to the United States. They're simply released into the country," end quote. So rather than building a wall, Mr. Secretary, you have built Ticketmaster for illegal immigrants.
I mean, seriously, what do you say to this circus? Where do you begin? Now, the good news is all of this is backfiring against Biden and the Democrats big time. The latest polls are an absolute disaster. But first, gang, as you can see, the southern border is a mess. All the while, our woke military is more focused on pronouns instead of our literal invasion. It may seem completely disheartening to see our government do nothing to help Americans while they send billions of dollars to Ukraine. But, gang, there's hope. We're seeing nothing less than an explosion in the membership of patriot militias, especially border militias. Patriots are stepping in to defend their homeland on their own without Joe Biden as their commander-in-chief, and you're going to meet one of them next week. Next Monday night, I'm interviewing live one of these brave patriots serving at our southern border in my Insiders Club, and you do not want to miss this. He's sharing the real story of what's actually happening in the southern border and giving you an inside look into the rising patriot militias the Democrats so desperately want to hide from you. Plus, this is your chance to ask him your questions as well. It's going to be amazing, so don't miss out. Click on that link below and sign up as an Insiders Club member. Get tons of other benefits and bonus content. Click on that link below, and I'll see you live next Monday night. A recent poll published by NPR found that a majority of respondents believe that what we're seeing at the southern border is nothing short of an invasion, which of course it is. To enter a nation by permission is immigration. To enter illegally without permission is invasion. Isn't that what we're telling Vladimir Putin? And polls consistently show that upwards to 60 to 70% of the American population are very concerned about how Biden is handling the southern border. So it's no coincidence that the latest AP poll has Biden at a humiliating 38% approval. He's actually at 35% for people under the age of 45. And very few issues provoke the ire of voters more than illegal immigration. Studies on both sides of the Atlantic, here at home and in Europe, show that illegal immigration is one of the top issues separating voters, the people, from the permanent political class. A survey by the Chatham House found that while 57% of elites believe immigration was good for Britain, only 25% of the public felt the same way. It's a massive gap in sentiment between our globalist elites, the permanent political class, and the people, the tax-paying citizens. In fact, elites were twice as likely to reject the notion that immigration increases crime or puts a strain on the welfare system than the general public. Another Chatham House study found that 55% of people across 10 European nations agreed that all further immigration from Muslim nations should be stopped, the highest stats being from Austria, Hungary, and Poland. Open borders are only guaranteeing a surge in populist sentiment. And we can only hope that that growing populist sentiment is going to eventually end this insanity once and for all. As always, make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button. You'll definitely want to check out my latest video on Tucker Carlson exploding. He's calling out the trans movement and its war against Christians. You're not going to want to miss that. So make sure to click on the link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.